In 3, 2, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Download the Uplift. I am one of your hosts reporting from the very chilly, windy beach, Gabriel Mark, joined as always by my co-host that when he shoots, he gets right between those goalposts, Dane Davis.
Yo. I'm curious. What goalpost do you think I'm able to nail?
Yo, I actually went.
Is it rugby?
Listen, I know you want that with your South African heritage, and that's what I was thinking. But I literally went to rhymer.com. I was like, what rhymes with co-host? I'm like, goalpost. I could make that fun. Yeah. And so I don't know. A rugby, we'll give it to you. Or like the last minute overtime field goal, even though you don't even really watch football. Yeah, we'll give you that one.
I'm just gonna say this. When I was a young kid in Africa, I tried to kick the ball over the goalpost, like rugby ball. Just didn't happen. I was far too short to even get close to kicking it over. So,
dang.
Yeah.
Well, those rugby balls are massive or bigger, but
yeah.
Yo, check this out, bro. There's something amazing happening on this episode. Ask me, yo, Snow, what's going on?
Well, it looks like there's three panes instead of two. So I don't know what's going on.
We're welcoming back to the show, reporting live from that city we all love called Boston, Ken Parlee.
What up?
What's up, bro? Thank you. Thank you so much for
do the dab.
Yeah, I like that.
100% living the dream. One day at a time.
Welcome back, man.
Fantastic. Yeah, I just got out of a town meeting. They're trying to save a building that they call the castle, the city I live in. So that's good.
Is it an actual castle or
it does replicate one on a scale of maybe like 1/10 or something. It's a nice building. It's just it's going to be very expensive to save, and it will get saved. It will get saved. It's just everybody talks a big talk, and it's like, I got to come up with $10 million, and
yeah. Is that the number?
No, probably not. Probably not.
It's crazy.
There's just the building's there. The city has it. They got it back from the school system, and there's a bureaucratic process that needs to take place. So, Hoover Dam was built in 2 years. Fix this one up. I gave it about 6.
Yeah. We've had old buildings in Vegas, and I don't know if we talked about this last time, but there's a couple that are wanting to be renovated, and it's taken way longer than anyone expected. But luckily, the building was saved, and that's like kind of the main thing.
Out in Vegas, I thought they just blew them up, made it a spectacle.
Yeah, turn into a casino.
The big tens of millions of dollar ones, they just blow those up. But the old historic buildings, they try and save.
Of course, yeah. No, it's worth it. It's a heritage site. You got to reflect the times, but it's important. To save the really nice old stuff, the stuff that it's an all brick building facade, and it's good looking. Copper, like round, spindly, like rooftops. So, something that would be very difficult to build now.
Yeah,
just with energy code. It's not even. It'd be quite a feat.
Yeah. Well, New England in general, it's just a lot of old buildings. Got hit actually yesterday with a 3.8 magnitude earthquake off the coast of Maine, like southern Maine. And these buildings are so old, dude. It's like you kind of have to, they're not built like now. I don't know if it is in New England, but I know in certain parts, like even Nevada or LA, especially, the buildings have to be able to withstand a certain magnitude of earthquakes. So some of these buildings, like, early 1900s or before, I mean, Ken would know best. It's like, I don't know how good they are at shaking around, but I'm curious, as a builder now, when you're building the spot, is there any like language or anything to do with like earthquakes? I'm sure hurricanes there is, but like, is there any, or natural disasters in general? Look at us getting right into the interview with our expert Ken Parlee.
Pro. It's kind of built into the IBC. I'm sure there's designations. For example, in our area, it's like a high radon area. So by code, we have to put in a radon mitigation system, whether it's at the property or not. It's by right. So I'm sure if you're inside those areas, there's another layer to the code, but it's not present. It's probably some built into the subline of the IBC, which is International Building Code. So I'm sure if you're in San Francisco, they're a little less worried about radon and a little more worried about earthquakes.
What's radon again?
Radon is a byproduct of, it's like a gas, and I believe it's a byproduct of, granite and some other materials, and it's an off gas.
Yeah, it's a radioactive gas that can be dangerous to your health because it can cause lung cancer. It's colorless, odorless, and tasteless gas. It's produced by natural decay of uranium in the rocks. Ooh. Golly, that's wild. I guess there's just some uranium kicking. Well, dude, there is nuclear power plants in New England, so I don't know.
It's see one out your window.
But most most radioactive material is undetectable. I think the most people have said is that there might be like a bit of a sweet taste in the air if you are exposed to high levels of radiation. But yeah, I have no idea. I've never been in.
Well, now, dude, they give like tours. You can go to Chernobyl or Pripyat or whatever, because I guess it's like safe enough to walk around for an hour. Would you guys ever do that just to be adventurous? Like they give you a Geiger counter, but just to see like a city that's frozen?
Yeah, I would.
Dog with 6 legs.
Yeah.
Hey, Spunky.
The city is actually not called Chernobyl. I'm forgetting what it is off the top of my head, but most of that city is you can, like you're saying, you can go into it safely for a limited time. And then there's just like certain areas that are still high in radiation, and obviously the actual Chernobyl, the reactor that melted down, that's still the most radioactive zone.
Yeah.
So.
That's an interesting experience. Yeah. You'd like to do that. And then you got to kind of weigh that. It's like, well, would you rather, see a rocket get launched? Or would you rather go to a radioactive site?
I want both.
Yeah, heck yeah. We're all young
like
men.
a food cart. Like,
yeah.
I
want to see
like the spinach.
I want to see a SpaceX launch, and I want to go to Chernobyl. I want to see it all.
Interesting. It's fantastic.
I'm curious about that. Does he have do they know pretty much scheduled out when they're gonna launch the boosters and stuff? Because that would be a cool trip. We're in Houston. I think it's Houston. Is it Houston that he launches them out of, or I don't know?
It's outside of there, I believe. It's actually its own county, and to my understanding, they're trying to buy it so they can make their own zoning, their own whatever, and
by the county.
Correct. They're trying to take all the land, and so that they can dictate when and how they do stuff, because they need to build infrastructure all around it for the workers, and it's not there. So it's a little tough when you get one place building rockets, and then you go to local county, and you run into Hank, sitting on his rocket chair out front. Well,
yeah.
Good luck with Hank.
Well, hey, listen, you guys know what the next 4 years are going to be all about. I mean, we're going to buy Greenland, so why not let Elon buy a county in Texas? I mean, there are no rules. Let's go. I told you this year's going to be uncensored. We talk politics on this show. We talk about controversial subjects. So President 47, President Trump, I just want to show you guys this and get your reaction to this. What do you guys think about him offering all federal employees, pull this up here. Okay. Breaking. President Trump is offering all 2 million federal workers the chance to resign in exchange for an 8-month severance package. The White House expects between 5 and 10% of workers to quit, leading to $100 billion in savings. Great move by Doge. Do you guys think, first of all, do you guys think this is a good move, bad move? You know, what do you think of just hearing something like that, like an offer like that? Like you get you get your money for 8 months, but then it's gone. But
yeah, sure. If there's some of them that are like on the verge of retiring anyway, then yeah, it's like a good deal for them. Wanting all these federal workers to resign, I don't know if that's great for the country or not. Like, it kind of depends.
It's definitely going to. There's a lot of people that are in jobs they don't want to be in to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you get offered an option. I'd see it as an option, right? Is that optionality is okay. We're offering money, and you get time, right? You get 8 months.
Yeah.
You know, you get 8 months, and if you hate your job, take the 8 months. I would.
No, yeah, for sure. If they fit that, like it's good for them, right? Because the 8-month salary, whatever they're getting from those 8 months, is probably a large amount of money for them. But I don't know, like if it's good for the country or not. But yeah,
if you're in the state of Massachusetts, they offered you that. You're 3 months pregnant. You could take that, and then you have the FMLA. You'd get full pay, and you probably wouldn't work for 14.
Yeah.
So that's a decision, you know, for a family to make, and for them to offer that is generous. The other end is, all right, who's not doing their job?
Yeah.
You fire them. So I think this is a generous out that's being offered.
Right.
For people that could be more creative and feel like they're not using their time properly to do that. Because there's plenty of work out there that could be probably more productive.
Well, I think it comes down to, listen, not everybody is able to be in the kind of work where they're passionate about it. But, you know, I'm sure a lot of those federal gigs, man, people are just like, you know, what was that movie? Falling Down. They got the tie way too tight and they're just miserable. And like Ken said, that's a good out. And 8 months, though, the problem is that I think a lot of people, including myself sometimes, are procrastinators. So it's like all of a sudden month 6, 7, 8, you're like, like I got to find a job because this is about to run out. Because it sounds great when you have 8 months of runway ahead of you. But
what a great opportunity to double down. What's not saying you just get another job that next week?
Well, I'm saying, though, some people,
I know some.
Pretty nice.
Yeah. That's an opportunity to get ahead.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of times you can potentially 2x your income in your lifetime.
Yeah.
If you have 30 years of, 30 years of service, you know, we're all going to be working till the day we die. It's a way to accelerate your future degree. If you got dreams, you got other things, that's an opportunity.
And that really is like two different kinds of mentalities, because I'd do the same thing. I'd be like, yeah, let me just get a job and I'll double my income. But then you do have, like John was saying, like, vacation.
Yeah.
8 months. So, 8 months to get my kill death ratio up, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. On month 7, you're like, oh, now I need to go find a job.
You like to think that our system is extremely efficient. But I see a lot of things where there's a lot of counter arguments that it's not.
Well, that's why we have the Department of Government Efficiency, baby. Yep. Shout out Elon. What up?
Yeah, we can't just gotta watch the money. That's it. You gotta watch it. If you don't, you're talking. What are they gonna bring in? 7.5, 8 trillion this year? It's hard to keep track of $8 trillion.
I'm so curious what he did. But when it comes to Elon, do you think like they literally were just having a burger on Trump Force One when he was running? He was like, listen, man. Or when he's president, he's like, listen, have at it. Just keep me posted on what you do. Do you think he like literally is like, all right, Elon, go? Because dude, when Elon took over Twitter, isn't it like under 10% of what it was, like the workforce. And it's like
he fired most of them.
Yeah.
Immediately. What he basically explained was like, when you're not trying to dictate what people say on your website and censor people, then you can eliminate a lot of extra people, because you just don't need that much of a workforce to manage it. I don't know if he's hired more people since then, but that's like what his original move was.
Productive people want to be around productive people. When you're really productive, you catch yourself doing other people's jobs a lot, because you just maybe work a little faster than they do. So as that keeps going, you realize that's when you trip over people. You start getting upset because you have expectations. They have their expectations. President Trump is not waiting around for anybody right now.
No.
So he wants to surround himself with the most productive people possible. And you have the king of efficiency in Elon Musk, where I think he's going to go down in the books as probably probably the greatest engineer of the 21st century. But there's a lot of, you look back at like how people would talk to Einstein or Galileo or Newton, and there's a lot of haters out there. Let him hate. You're doing something right, because some people just don't like change.
Just his policy with business and his policy with engineering, I think is a great one. We were talking about it last week, actually, John, like just, his engine design that was just like,
oh my gosh,
the
The simplicity,
the Raptor.
How many parts can we eliminate? And like just even like have the mentality where like a part being there is like part of the problem. Like if you can eliminate that part out of the equation, it's not a part that will fail.
You can find deflation in an inflationary world. That's how you create value.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
unbelievable. Imagine that Raptor 1 Raptor 1 to Raptor 3. It's too bad it has the 1 on it, because Raptor 3.
Come on, man. But the thing though is like, the sheer size of the government, bro, like from the water we drink to the tanks we use. I'm so stoked for the future, man. And just to see, even if you're like a totally lefty, super anti-Trump guy, like even if you have this front on social media and you're like, oh, I hate everybody, I'm gonna burn my Tesla, blah blah blah. You gotta in the back of your head be like, this is pretty interesting. I'm anxious to see how we grow as a country. I mean, I know I sure am. I think it's gonna be. And if he did give the keys to Elon, said, yo, make this work like one of your rockets, which I'm sure he would say something like that. Like, I don't know. I think it's going to be an exciting, but Ken said it to me the other day. He's like, I think there's going to be so many changes that people are going to get, well, you used the phrase run over, but I don't know. He's going to ruffle some feathers for, the Trump administration from all the changes. I mean, you can see how much stuff the guy doesn't sleep, man. It's unbelievable.
He's got a lot of energy. He does. And he's just hyper focused. The guy's a beast.
Yep.
So luckily he's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
know. Go ahead, Dane. Let's hear it. Good, neutral, both positive and.
I mean, so far, I think it's been pretty neutral. I mean, look, I don't think anyone can argue that the government can be way more efficient, and it's good that we're actually like placing a department to do a check and balance on like how efficient we are. I think it's great. Like hopefully that department is as unbiased as possible. And I don't mean just in this administration, but in the future. Of course, like we have all these checks and balances and stuff, but we all know that there's like, intermingling between branches of government and all that stuff. But it just hopefully it maintains its original value, because if it doesn't, then it's pointless, right? But if it remains independent, then I think it's a solid addition to the government that is needed, honestly. So
yeah, the government's not a big deal until you have property, and when I say property, I mean it in its entirety. It doesn't necessarily have to be a piece of real estate. But the more and more you have property, the more and more it gets in your way. I consistently find myself having to go through a process to do some relatively simple things.
Yeah,
where it seems pretty rigged. You have a special permit process, like and me, I'm in the real estate business, so I do it, and I avoid this like the plague. I have nothing that involves special permits because I know the rules. I find what's inside the rules, and I develop those things. But we have a situation at my municipality where they want to put in a fire station that we need, and the government is asking for rights so they aren't subject to the special permit process. So you have the government asking for relief from its own bureaucratic process.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Right? So, should we be given the right to the government, or should we be reconciling and reforming the process? It shouldn't take, like you gotta do this and that's and they don't even have definitions with the butters, and you gotta do these rulers, and it's
that makes my blood boil.
Nope. Imagine if it was just, well, I say this because if it was just a person that owned the house that had to ask for a special permit for a garage.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now you have to apply for this special permit, and you have to get plans. You have to do all this. Some people hire attorneys. You might spend 20, 25 more time, thousands of dollars to see if you can get the permit.
Yeah.
How much progress do we lose from these processes where my own municipal government is seeking relief?
There's so much like red tape involved with everything. Trying to make changes to your property, right? Like there's a growing amount of people, especially people who have like YouTube channels and stuff like that, where they base their entire channel off of this, that are wanting to live like off grid, and the challenges of that are pretty obvious. Like you have to have all the skills necessary to like do your own work around your house, and oftentimes building your own house and all kinds of stuff like that. But just trying to have the ability to install something like just solar and live off grid in that way is like, there's a bunch of red tape with that. There's a bunch of extra expenses you have to go through. And it's kind of strange. It's like you can legally like own a bit of land. You can know how to build a home on that land and build it safely. But there's a bunch of stuff that's holding you back from doing that.
Bureaucratic process that, and some of them are just, I don't want to, totally bash it. This stuff was put in for a reason. But everything turns a little too hot, just like the ship, when it lifts a little bit, all the water that's in the bottom of the boat will go over to the other side. So it actually pushes you a little farther. And then when you sway the next way, all that water will run from the port side to the starboard, and then it will pull the boat a lot more because of that burden. So hopefully part of these processes going is it's given back people more rights.
Hopefully. And that's kind of what I was getting at with, that people wanting to live off grid, or even if you're not wanting to do that, but you're just wanting to make a renovation to your home. It's like you own the property, but you don't really. The denser you go, the more regulation you're going to have, and rightfully so, to a degree.
But
for safety reasons, it makes sense.
There's been a lot of stuff happening in Massachusetts where they're starting to dial these things back because it's just been everything's like landlocked right now.
Well, or Dane, were you also kind of like on the show Yellowstone? One of the reasons they wanted him to sell a portion of the land is because you can't afford the taxes on it. And that goes to the old adage that, like, okay, say you have no debt. You're doing the Dave Ramsey system. You have a piece of property. You're sitting on 20 acres, but you still got to pay taxes. And if you don't, eventually they'll come and take it. So can you ever actually own a piece of land? And I mean, dude, that's kind of depressing. No?
I'd say no. I mean,
Ken would know.
You can buy the town.
You can buy the town.
You can buy the town. No, if you go out into the Midwest, there are towns that were towns. You know, it said population 983, and now it's 5. Right? So those towns just self-regulate. And assuming there's no state, you know, you go to South Dakota, you know, they have large swaths of land, and there's under a million people there in the whole state.
Isn't that crazy?
So there are areas that is possible.
Yeah. Well, Dane, you drove up to like Ely, and dude, I drove through South Dakota when I was in the RV, and Ken ain't lying, bro. There's like, the closest Walmart. That's how I knew I was in the middle of nowhere. It was like 2 hours away. I'm like, dang, dude, there ain't no 2-day delivery.
Nobody's asking for money out there because they're not driving to you.
I gotta it's so funny we were talking about this. I got 5 minutes ago. You two will be groomsmen, but my other groomsman, when I find her, Chase, he just literally just texted me, yo, Trump absolutely cleaning up. I love it, man. It's good. Patriotism, baby. Yo, you know what I'm not neutral about, boys? I just had to bring this up. Is DC's, man. I'm on the Diet Coke train, man. 0 calories. Yo, I get it has aspartame, which is supposedly pretty bad.
More than that. What else is in there?
Dude, these are fantastic and more caffeine. But yo, Ken might know. But dude, do you know how much do you guys think 12 Diet Coke cans are? I was shocked. I was sticker shocked.
Well, yeah, you'll have to ask Ken that. I know we were talking about it the other day.
On sale. I don't $6.99, $5.99.
Dude, it was $8 at Walmart. I'm like, oh,
you gotta get them on sale. You can't pay retail. If you go to Shaw's when it's I say Shaw's, but Market Basket is something. You just gotta get them on sale. Woo! $8 though, that is quite a bit.
$8.
I guess 6 as well. So I was thinking that too, but that's so weird because like at Walgreens. I remember it being like $6 for 3 12-packs, and I might be wrong about that. But
let's get a case of Market Basket soda. When I say case, that's 24.
Yeah,
$2.
Yeah,
I used to get them with my Nana when I was a kid. It was $2.
Isn't that crazy?
And this is Market Basket soda, so it's well, I'd say Pepsi was probably like a 24-pack was probably $5.
Well, that's just
the cubes, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, there's people that are like loyal to the brand. Like, yo, I would never drink a Pepsi. I'm new. Listen, this isn't going to be a habit with these sodas. So, but today at Walmart, I got it's Diet Dr. Sam's. So
Dr. Sam's
for whatever the Walmart, I think it's like Mr. Sam's or Sam's Diet. I'm like, and then it's $4. I'm like, I'm saving that forward, dude. $8 is like, what am I buying? Like if I was buying beer or something. But yeah. So I just want to throw that in. But yeah, I mean, the last time we had Ken on, it was definitely more of an interview format. But there is some cool stuff happening in the world of real estate, and Ken is the official download the Uplift real estate expert. So I just wanted to check back in with him and see what's going on, man. It's crazy. We talked a little bit about it, you and me, about the fact, I was like, yeah, dude, there's a housing crisis in New Hampshire. And his response was, well, there's a housing crisis everywhere.
It's not a housing crisis. It is a store value crisis. When you take the dollar, right? That's what we use as our currency. Where do you store your value? It is not a good store of value. So people use real estate to hide value. And people aren't moving it because of that reason, right? How do you fight inflation? Hold on to real things, right? Paper that has a 1 on it and a 0, or a 5 and a 0, it's paper. And it's more and more becoming a reality that this currency is been gamed and manipulated to a point where it's losing its trust. So if you're work your whole life and told you're going to get a pension and you think you got it all figured out and you get a pension check for $3,500, and by the time you retire, your taxes, your transportation, and your food are $3,500 a month, you kind of got robbed. You traded your time at an earlier date for, currency. And the dollar used to be a good store of value. It was, it got taken off the gold standard, I believe, in 71. And you've slowly seen the monetization of every single aspect of life. I do it in my life, not out of fun, just out of necessity. Every single aspect, you have to see some form of monetization in it, because that's what's happened to housing. It's been monetized. The bonds are bad, the dollar's bad, and every aspect of life has been monetized with this, more digitized and share economy, right? This is out of necessity that people are sharing these things. Sharing RVs, sharing boats, sharing vehicles, right? It is what it is.
So you're saying it's not that there's not enough homes. People don't have enough money to live in those homes. Is that basically what you're saying?
No, the people that own the homes, their only protection or their only store of value is the home. Let's take it a step back. Let's say the currency is the home, not the dollar. The house is the same. It has 17 windows. It has 2 doors, 1 bulkhead, 1 roof, whatever, 11 square of siding. Now, if all those metrics have gone up 39%, what would you raise the rent to replace those things? I'd raise them 39%, right? And then the taxes went up. The insurance went up. The exchange of your time for currency didn't go up 39%. So all you do is to create more, you give debt on that to create more liquidity. So you have the asset, you create money by giving debt. You never pay it back because it's going bad. You pay it back with watered down money. Oh, I bought my house in 1985 for $90,000. Oh, I made a great deal. I don't think you did. I think if you look at inflation and holding that house and looking at the taxation, the insurance rising, the loss of rights, it might appear that you're doing all right because my house is worth, let's say it's worth $600,000 now. Let's say it's worth, but your pension is $3,500. You can't afford to maintain that building. You only have money for food, transportation, taxes, and insurance. So I don't think the house was a premium store of value. It was one, but we got a currency crisis, in my opinion. You see it in the 10-year. Nobody's giving, I don't want to say nobody's giving debt. It's the best way to put this. Nobody's buying the debt, right? The Chinese aren't buying it, okay? The Japanese aren't buying it. You know who's buying it is the Fed. They're the ones that print the money. So they're buying back their old bad money. It's not a good recipe for a strong currency.
Yo, I don't know, man. I don't know. See?
Oh, sorry to run on you guys like that.
No, it's not. No, listen, here's the problem. I was like, okay, I think I got this. And then,
sorry for running on you guys on that because, can get a little ranty.
Yeah, I understood what you're saying. Like, it's been a thing for a while that, like, the dollar is not a great store of value. So, yeah, I look at it in much the same way. With my business, like the rental business, and my company is also going to be like pivoting a little bit as well. But you buy equipment and you make a business out of it, or you try and monetize valuable items that you can actually do stuff with. I think it's a great philosophy to have in life. Obviously, you do need some money save. Yeah, it's a healthy thing to do for just your value in general. But yeah, investing in like physical items and then turning that into a business, monetizing it, that's really like the best thing to do, because it's not necessarily about how much cash you have. It's like how much cash flow can you generate.
I would say it's how much access you have to credit, right? I'm never long the dollar. Like, I don't want to have a suitcase with $100,000 in it. I want to have an asset that gives me a line of credit that I can write out a check for $100,000. You'll hold on to a couple of bands, just in case, all right, heading to the Canadian border, bro. You know what I mean? Crap hit the fan. Crap hit the fan. Grab the duffel bag. Grab the duffel bag, honey. We gotta go. But hey, have a little of that on you. Have a little of the real stuff. Right? So look at this. Is a cool one here. Look at this. This one here. It's like an artist carved in, but this is an actual piece of a bar. Like if you saw the whole bar.
Oh yeah.
It'd be like a long silver bar, and then he cut it all into metrics or whatever.
Nice.
But like silver to me is more like, having like $500 in your pocket.
Yeah.
Silver is more like currency to me. Not that that's been a great store of value either. Everybody always talks about it like it's going to do something big. It's done nothing because there's a lot of it. There's a lot of silver.
Yeah. There are, I know a few people that it's either gold or silver. And I guess the good thing about it is it's not nearly as volatile as the US dollar as far as like depreciating in value. You'll have relatively the same amount of value, which is good. So it sort of sets you at whatever value you bought it as, and maybe it'll go up and down slightly. But
the
dollar, it's
the dollar is the
stable.
best bad actor for currency. There's no other. All the other currency is just that much worse, right? I don't know. Does anybody want money from Zimbabwe? Huh? You want some rubles from Russia?
Well, not anymore. The Zim dollar used to be
right?
be good.
Right? You want some yen? You know what I mean? Nobody else really wants that stuff.
I should say the Rhodesian dollar used to be really good. It was one of the top currencies. And then when Rhodesia fell apart because of the war, and it became Zimbabwe, then massive amounts of inflation happened. Basically, everyone became a millionaire overnight, but it's with the Zim dollar. So your
import, you can buy a loaf of bread with it, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, your loaf of bread would be $10,000.
Yeah, that's crazy. Those hyperinflations, like Somalia, you have to have like a brick of bills to buy, like you said, a loaf of bread. The gold standard though, dude, we got off the gold standard, like Ken said, 1973. So and that was like, this dollar is equal to this piece of gold in the Federal Reserve.
Yeah,
that's basically it.
Yeah, you do a 1-for-1 backing essentially. So whatever the value of gold was, it dictated basically the value of a dollar.
Yeah, there was a big part of Bretton Woods. At Bretton Woods and after World War II, I believe a lot of the gold came to the U.S. Because they were like, well, nobody's invading the U.S.
Yeah.
So that's the only place that we keep safe, and everybody came under the agreement that they trusted the U.S. to hold their gold. But there's a new standard. And the new standard is going to be crypto.
Yeah.
That's what they're working on right now, where they're going to put some weight to this thing beyond our bullets and our tanks and our battleships, right? Because that's really what anchors our currency, is our guns.
With their tanks and their bombs and their guns.
Yeah, that's what, what else anchors it, right?
Well, because this is going to be a one-parter episode. There's just so much to talk with our guest, Ken Parlee, about. I did want to shout out real quick our quote of the week. Oh wait.
There you go.
So I don't know, having Ken on, I think this sums up our guest. So Dane, take it away. Quote of the week.
Do we don't want Ken to do it?
Actually, you know what? Yeah, Ken.
Yeah.
Launch.
The best way to predict the future is to build it. Peter Drucker.
I like that quote, man. You know, it kind of like falls in line with a lot of what I say to other people, and I'm not an expert. Instead of relying on like the 9-to-5 job to get you to whatever salary you're wanting to get at every year, right? Like developing ways, side gigs, whatever it is, to supplement your income is really like that's how a lot of people have to do it. And you can't just wait around for someone to give you that key. You have to build it. You have to start working and putting what you are expecting out of your life into play and start making it happen for you. So
don't you find that to be a problem, Dane?
Oh yeah, no, I do.
That you can't just excel in one craft. And
I find
life for you and your family.
Yeah, I do find it to be a problem. It's also gotten me as far as I am today. Like it's not necessarily efficient. It's not how I think we should be. It's not the goal I think we should be heading towards, because it involves a lot more learning, a lot more work, and we shouldn't be moving towards people who are working more and harder for less, right?
Oh, they are.
Yeah, and they are. I completely agree with you. But it's a natural response, you know, to that. So one of my goals in building my company is I want to figure out a way of going against the grain that a lot of other companies are doing, where it's about squeezing, you know, profit out of labor forces, basically, you know, and putting so much onto people's plates and not paying them enough for it. I want to do things differently. I don't know if I'll be able to like achieve that as much as I want to, but that's like part of like, I look at, that's the future I want. I want to have a company that has people in it that enjoy working there and aren't overworked. And hopefully I'm not overworked as well. But you know, that's what I want to build. It's part of the future, and there's other things. But yeah, I like that quote for that reason.
There's two parts of this quote that kind of pulls me a little bit. You know, the best way to predict the future is to build it. Part of it to me says dream, right? You should be dreaming to get in there. And then the next level is, if you fail to prepare, you prepare for failure. Yeah. So you have that dream and you're preparing for that dream. And you got to think in the ninth inning all the time, even though, right, that manager's in there, you know, even though you're in the third or fourth, you know, I'm going to a baseball analogy, you know, you're still trying to figure out how you're going to be in a position, and that you might need your setup man to get to the closer. Yeah. But if we're facing the third, fourth, and fifth hitter, they're all lefties. So I want to make sure I also have my lefty available. Or if, you know, little details that are going to come your way that you need to, you know, dream about, forward think to get ahead. So it's a good quote. Yeah. I think it's a quote about dreaming a little bit.
No, I agree with that too.
And planning to build that road to get to where you want to go.
Yeah. No, I look at a lot of how I've gone about life as like I have this pie in the sky dream, and sometimes that can be a bit distracting because like you can focus on that a little bit too much.
Are you comfortable with sharing your dream, Dan?
Well, like part of like, you know, what I said about my business is that's part of it. You know, I just want to create at the end of the day. That's like the big picture. But
the artist.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
That's my whole thing, and I want the facilities and the freedom to be able to create. So by utilizing skills I have and skills of other people, when it eventually grows into that, to generate profit, get customers, and all that stuff, I'm hoping to then use that to do my own projects, and that's like music projects. I want to do video games. I want to do like all kinds of crap. Yeah,
I think about your industry when you're describing like music, right? See, the store value on that end is owning the rights to your music, right?
Oh yeah.
Like little things like was the Beatles, right? Michael Jackson's play there, and he bought the rights to their music. You're stuck with a suitcase full of money, or you're stuck with the rights to the Beatles' music, huh?
No,
interesting stuff is what do you want more in your store value? You want rights to things.
Wait, is that a thing with Michael Jackson and the Beatles? He bought the rights.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, that ended up being
Beatles music, baby.
It was probably the biggest deal like ever.
That's unbelievable.
in the music industry at that point in time, and this was probably in the 80s.
Maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there was like a huge debate on the ethics of just buying a whole discography. But no, smart investment for sure. Yeah. And yeah, like Ken's 100% right. Again, it's like you buy something and it's a money generating thing. Like it's just going to give you money. And yeah, like I mean, the Beatles has just appreciated in value. It's never gotten less.
Yeah.
So,
well, the thing is the thing that's gotten less is dollars, right?
Yeah.
There's more dollars. The song, is the same.
Yep.
The only thing that changed is the supply of money.
Great thing about, having the rights to a song, like when it gets that big, like when it's the Beatles, when it's, whatever, is not just owning the recorded song itself, but owning the composition. When you own it entirely, then people can recreate it, but they have to pay you. If people want to use your recording, they have to pay you. So all the money just gets funneled over to you. It's the most powerful thing to have as a musician, and obviously that's usually something that the labels go after immediately when they sign you. So,
well, I don't know if it's true, but at the end of the movie The Dirt, Nikki Sixx, the Motley Crue movie, Nikki Sixx, I think they went all in to buy the rights to their music, which proved obviously to make them very wealthy dudes to this day. But hey, that brings us to Ken Reacts. I want to show a quick short to Ken, and as a real estate professional, see what he has to say. So let's see what Ken has to say about this guy's opinion on real estate.
Actually like Dave Ramsey, but it reminds me of kind of talking with my dad sometimes because he's just way off. Dave says you should only buy a house using a 15-year mortgage. The problem is 15-year mortgages have way higher payments, meaning that you're actually going to end up qualifying for less. Right now, it's actually more risky for first-time homebuyers to have higher payments. And what's worse, the interest rates on a 15-year mortgage are not that much better than a 30-year. 10 years ago, this was completely different. But today, there's a very small difference in rates. The best advice? Just get a 30-year mortgage. It's going to give you the most flexibility. And guess what? You can always pay extra.
Well, Dave Ramsey's whole thing is debt, right? He doesn't want you to owe anybody anything. What do you think about what Ken's advice? 30
debt. Debt is it's a great tool, but it can get sharp if you're not careful. If you get really loosey-goosey, you can lose it all, and Ramsey's been through that. So if you want to spend the time and listen to his story about him and his Jaguar, right? Oh yeah. I love Dave. The guy's great. He is. He's just providing another product to try to convince people of how to store their value, in real estate. Now, 30-year over 15, it's kind of a no-brainer in my opinion, just because
I believe the money is not good. We know we're going to be paying down that debt with watered down money. If they say the inflation rate is going to be, the proposed inflation rate is 2%, and we amortize that 2% over 30 years, what is the value of the dollar you're paying, right? Because the value of the dollar is changing, not the house. As long as you can monetize it, like you have the capital to deal with that. It's nice to pay off things and you don't have to do anything, but then you have the rights issue where it's like, well, you get the taxes, you get the insurance, you get the upkeep. Housing isn't all it's jacked up to be. Personally, I'm considering personally maybe moving on a little bit from real estate over the next 5 years, where it's like, oh wow, you better be pretty, you better be shiny, or I'm moving on.
Ken's gonna invest wholly in kites, all different kinds of kites.
Great business. Business. It's gonna blow off. It's gonna blow away.
No, well, here's the thing. All right, this is what I think. 15 to 30, right? But some people aren't wired. Like, are you saying that if your money's stretched out double the time, you could use that money for a different play? Or
no, just the money you're going to be paying off is going to be, there's going to be more money. So the money's going to be watered down, right? We give you, all right, you go up to the bar, you order a Red Bull and vodka.
Okay.
All right. You let it sit on the bar for 6 hours. Now take a sip of that Red Bull and vodka. Right? The money is like the ice cube. It's diluting the drink. So as that money sits, it's just diluting that note. So as that money sits there on the bar, it's just diluting itself, so you got to, how long can you let it sit on the, how long can you let it sit?
It's like the depreciation of the value of a dollar outweighs the extra percentage rate that you have each year doing a 30-year loan.
I'm not saying there isn't arguments to go after a 15 or something like that. I'm sure there's base cases to go after stuff like that. But things with real estate is I try not to make money off of real estate or report a gain. I just give debt when the time comes. You pull it out. It's, and when I say I sell it, I can also synthetically sell it, right? When you give mortgage or you give debt, right? You're getting back money. And now if you're only in it 20% or something of that nature. All right, if Ken hits hard times, say the place is worth $1 million. I don't know, I'm going to lose 200 grand. Let's say I bought it for $500,000 and I sold it for $1 million and I pay taxes on a $500,000 gain. Guess what? Ken just lost $200,000, right? You can synthetically sell it, which is something to go on. But if the dollar's strong right now, but it won't stay that way because I shouldn't say it shouldn't stay that way because you shouldn't make any assumptions. But the dollar's very strong right now. I don't know how long they're going to be able to keep their hands on it. We'll see. But whenever jobs start getting lost, the economy starts going down a little bit. They don't know any other way to pump this thing up, make more dollars, or increase liquidity.
Yeah. And it's. I mean, there's so many issues with just trying to keep the job market like in a healthy situation and the economy in a healthy situation. Just even creating jobs at this point, I think it's part of the battle, and creating like good jobs that are well paying and incentivize people to work. Those are all great. A lot of people now are not wanting to work or not wanting to go have the traditional job. They're wanting to try and make money online or whatever it is. I think that's going to be a bit more of a thing that develops in the future. Is like you'll have more people trying to make money online and not necessarily having tangible, value to give to the world. It's more like an entertainment factor.
Look at the code of the money. The code of the money says
it's going to go up 2% every year.
Yeah.
It will not allow deflation. It will not allow it. So every time you get some intense deflationary pressures, their only response is inflation. We have these deflationary products coming out, AI, you ever heard of it? We had the cell phone, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's a calculator, it's a TV, it's an entertainment center, it's a key to your car, right? Mm-hmm. And you have more deflationary pressure coming into an inflationary world. This thing, it's getting blown up pretty big. I don't know how it's all going to end, but I think there is a means to the end. And if we find some railway between a product that isn't deflationary, which is Bitcoin, and we learn how to piggyback that, because then the Bitcoin is the bond. The Bitcoin will anchor the debt. If you have that to anchor the debt, then it's actually a real market. We don't even know real markets. We say we're in a free whatever market. No, try starting an insurance company, a bank, right? Free market. Try opening a restaurant. Okay. Oh, serve safe, this license and this you want to sell beer? Okay, now you got to go to the commission, and now you have to file for this. It's not a free market, and I think it's important that we keep straying back to free markets, because otherwise we kind of have this big bureaucratic spooled up mess that has a lot of waste, and the waste, the inflation kind of fuels it, where it kind of creates more waste. That waste isn't seen in wages. That's where it ends up falling on the wages and the currency.
Like, speaking on that, like getting, licensed and all this other stuff, like to a degree, all the red tape for safety reasons is a good thing to have set up. But just, even getting the right documents so that you're able to build something or go and do something, find work somewhere. You as a person, you don't change just because you have the documentation. Your knowledge is still relatively the same as it was before or after you get the license. If you have the skills to do something, the paper isn't necessarily the thing that dictates that you have the ability, right? But
well, if you need the license to facilitate, you need the license to facilitate. Look at, right, for safety reasons. Look what's happening to these people in California, where our president has to fly across the country to express to a mayor, let these people on their land.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
Right? For safety reasons, it's dust. There's nothing there. These people want to go on their property, clean it up, and do what they want to do. And these regulators, because they said, for safety reasons, these are grown adults. Okay? You want to talk about safety? These are adults. We're not talking about children here. Regulation is just, but when you have to go through a bureaucratic process that is unjust, it can get very expensive. Where if you are trying to start a restaurant, it's not like you just start a restaurant. You need immense amounts of capital, right? So how do you get from being a cook to a restaurant owner?
Yeah.
Right? The barrier to entry is astronomical.
Yeah.
It really is.
That's kind of what I'm getting at, is like, you have the cook, he knows how to cook, right? He knows like how to do some good food, and maybe he's even business savvy, like well before he gets into wanting to build a restaurant. But then you have to go through all this stuff and all these expenses versus getting to the point of like build the restaurant, start making money, and obviously it's harder than that, but you get what I mean. It's exactly what you just said, like having to go through all the bureaucracy and red tape prolongs the process of having a successful business.
I had a friend of mine's business get held back for a month because of discussions of hours of operations. The existing business operated from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. He was requesting from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Now, within a mile, there's a cluster of restaurants that are open till 1 a.m.
He eventually got the right to open after 10, but they held back his license to operate during that monthly period. There wasn't we'll give you a provisional one, 7 to 6, and we'll have a discussion to the 10th. They held the whole license.
Wow.
I don't know about you, Dane. I don't like to lose a month's income ever.
No.
Right?
No.
So, these are real. It's real. These are real people, children, stores of value. And I don't think they're quite respected as well as they should be.
I don't know how much regulation would come into it, but I was actually thinking about it the other day. Like, I've lived in so many different apartments. I happen to know what I like about apartments. And in my head, I could build the perfect apartment in the state in which I reside, which I think we drastically need. But what's to say that I can't talk to a few investors and build a massive apartment structure on my own? Like, I'm a dreamer, bro. So I was like, yo, listen, do I have the millions and millions and millions of dollars it would take to build a 100-unit apartment building? But I'm curious, like, if I could shake the right hands and talk to the governor of New Hampshire, and I could be like, yo, we really need apartments. Is there any kind of subsidies you could hook me up with? I don't know. I know I'm kind of off the rails here, but I was like, dude, can not even necessarily me, could somebody without a lot of capital make the right connections and front a big structure, whether it be like housing wise? Is that possible? Or do you have to have money individually and experience? I don't know. Like, if you have the right knowledge around you and the right investors, is it possible for someone without those things to build something great like that?
I don't think it's very likely.
Not likely, but it's possible.
I think it's extremely remote. It's okay. I love it. Let's build it. Where's the water gonna go? You need an engineer. Yeah. Where's the water gonna go? Well, have you ever dealt with 80 flushing toilets at the same time?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Right? Where's it gonna go? Now, where's the rainwater gonna go on this structure?
Yeah.
Is it gonna go on the street? You need an engineer, and this thing's gonna take some time. Mm-hmm. And these guys aren't cheap. And then he has to work with the city engineer, right? But you have to have these plans that are built by an architect first. Let's not forget.
What's that hourly for an architect?
$200 for a draftsman. Now, this is just to get you ready for your special permit.
Okay.
You need all these things before the special permit, because they'll say, did you talk to the DPW? Did you talk to the building commissioner? Did you talk? And these things are, they need to be done. But if you went in there and let's say you spent $200,000,
right,
and then you go to apply for a special permit, and they said no, or you can only do half, that $200,000 might be gone. So you would have to know somebody that is very detailed in the process, going all through this, who has done it before, or the bank wouldn't even touch you, or the investor wouldn't touch you. If the deal is right, the money's going to come no matter what. It's Gresham's law, right? Good money goes to good resources. Bad money, goes the other way. So if you provide value, the good money is going to follow it. If you're chasing around money and it's not coming, it's because it's probably a bad deal.
Well, your quote was, if you fail to prepare, what is it? What is it again?
Yeah, if you fail to prepare, you prepare for failure.
Okay. But if you had this is what I want to build. Like, if I was just the point man on it, like, this is what I want to build. This is what the state needs.
Partner with an engineer.
I got
an architect.
Knowledge, and you got some dudes that, who knows, man? There's so much money, everywhere. That if you had it like a business plan, you went to Bank of America or whatever, and you had some of the government, because they have bulletins, how much we need apartments. Is it possible? And according to Gemini, it's possible with a lot of hard work.
Can you work for 3.5 years with no income?
I feel
because you're not going to see a penny.
Oh, right. Yeah.
All right. You're not going to see a penny until this thing starts selling.
You have to have proven engineers, proven architects, like all that stuff, a good plan, that's come together that follows all the regulations, and
Some DPWs, if you went to them as an engineer, they'd be like, I haven't done any business with you yet. I need 3 letters of recommendation from other municipalities.
Yeah.
So now you just got out of college and you're an engineer. Welcome to the red tape.
Yeah.
Now, how do you get there?
Wow.
Now you have to work for somebody else to get the credentials to participate. So next thing you know, you're like, what do you mean? I just went to school. My mother and father just paid $250,000 so that I could do this. And then you're going to tell me I can't? You say, no, you can, after you have 3 letters of recommendations from other municipalities.
Yeah.
But what if
Good luck with getting the first one.
What if you're just the point man and you shake the hand with the guy with the recommendations to the other guy and you connect all these people? I'm telling you, boys, maybe I'll do a YouTube channel. Hey, I want to build.
That's what I do. That's what I do. But you got to start with the garage.
No way. We're going 50-unit apartment complex.
Well,
if you had the greatest idea for an apartment complex possible,
I do.
You'd be able to eventually, if you met the right people, find the right investor, find all the engineers you need, and go through all that. You would be able to, but it'd be a very slight chance that it would actually work out.
I'm going to do it.
It would take forever.
I'd say the most likely chance would be to get a swath of land that you are allowed the use of mobile homes, or what are they, park houses. And the beauty of that is you're like, okay, you can have a master plan. You sit around, draw it on a napkin for all it matters. But you're like, all right, well, this would be the first thing. And you take down some trees and you bulldoze one road. You build one septic, and it's something that you can keep growing off of, because then you first prove your model.
Yeah.
I think that counts. You got to start, like I said earlier, you start with a shed. And then, I know you brought up the ADUs earlier. I know you want to get on, you wanted to touch base on those, and I kind of went on a rant about the currency. But the ADUs is a great opportunity for a young person. It is also in New Hampshire. It's by right. They passed that in, I believe, 2019. And it's now by right in the state of Massachusetts. It's been by right in California now, I believe, for about 5 or 6 years.
Well, tell the audience, here's the thing. You got to explain some of this stuff like we're in 5th grade. So ADU, right? So give us a quick breakdown, because, we want to get you out of here in about 10 minutes or so, because it's going to be a one-parter. But this is big news with Massachusetts coming through and allowing these, hopefully, right? We're crossing our fingers.
It's the law. The state demanded that municipalities give the right.
So tell us what they are. What's good with accessory dwelling units, my man?
So the state essentially axed single family zoning. So initially you could say, hey, welcome to Boxford. You want to live in Boxford? That's great. You want to build a house? You can only build a single family house. Not only can you not only build a single family house, but it has to be on a 1 acre lot. Not just any 1 acre lot. You have to have 220 feet of frontage. Not only do you have to have 220 feet of frontage, you have to have setbacks within a radius from every corner, side, or whatnot of 140 feet. So, you can run into some fancy lots. So there was a paper tiger that was built in zoning where and we've seen enough growth where it's almost been bottlenecked. There's nowhere else to go. There's no room for growth. Yeah. So the state, now they're looking, okay, we have our housing crisis / store value crisis. And where do we find the growth? Well, you have to give people the right. The state gave municipalities the right to do zoning. This is a big thing in 85. And you look at it, and housing has gone up and right. There's been so many things pressing on the housing prices to go up. You've created a deflationary zoning policies.
You have an inflationary currency. And then never mind if you have a product where it's a good quality place to live, right? So you have all these pressures. You have inflationary monetary pressures, deflationary zoning pressure, and then you also have a deflationary, I should say inflationary per capita people, the density. No, and now you can't grow with your family, right? Oh, Grandpa built his house when he got out of Korea. Okay, that's great. Oh, Johnny's coming back from college. Well, Johnny can't live with you, or Johnny can't have any land rights. Prior to zoning, you could have just cut the top off and put an apartment above it. Mm-hmm. So you could grow with Johnny, and then Johnny's children could come home from school, and Nana could watch Johnny Jr., and then Johnny could grow a little bit, right? Create that barrier to entry. That hurdle is humongous now. It's a very big hurdle to get past. You have the income problems, you have the zoning problems, and there's no bridge, there's no lily pad to get Johnny owning property. Yeah. Johnny has no right or no access to property now because people are hoarding the property because the currency's bad. So now we have the state demanded people were given the right. They axed single family zoning. Now this is great. It's kind of a counter too, because they're putting, it's a financial term, it's called a put, where they say, hey, your land's not going to be worth less than this now. Because if it was just single family, if that lot of land, now you can put 2 houses on it, it makes the land worth more. So they essentially put a put in so that you can't see any deflation in the land price. That's in my opinion, because Massachusetts is very good with monetary trickery. Part of this ADU bill was, we're going to create $6 billion worth of bonds to subsidize these certain types of housing and this and that and whatever. And so now if you do things along these certain guidelines, we'll kick some money in. Not only are we going to kick that money in, but we borrowed it at 3% over 30 years. They're not going to pay it back, right? They know the dollar, they know there's inflation in the dollar. So they'll just monetize their way out of it. You put the ADU on there. Oh, now you have the elderly people. Oh, I can't afford to pay the taxes. Okay, well, now you can build an ADU for yourself, live in it, and then you can rent out the house up front. Maybe now there's access to Johnny, have land use rights. So it's good because now that barrier entry hopefully is a little less harsh on Johnny. It'd just be great if it was more closer, free and open market. You just did districts. This is a residential district. This is a mixed use district. This is a business district. And you let people use their property.
It gets you closer to actually owning it instead of having to go through whatever rules are.
Yeah, well, there's rules. So it's not going to go without rules.
Yeah.
So, like I said, there's detached. There can be a basement ADU, an upstairs ADU. The reality is they're already there. They're just not disclosed to the municipalities. I have 4 neighbors that there's 3 generations of people living in a single family dwelling out of necessity.
But it's not a bummer because we have these accessory dwelling units. Hey, you got a plot of land. Now you can build a little tiny home on it.
Not necessarily, right? If you don't hit these setbacks and whatever, it's not like you can put it behind you. The basement's probably already downstairs. But now the city can say, all right, that's a 2-family house. We're going to tax you more.
But no, I'm just trying to tell the audience what they are.
The insurance company can say that's a 2-family house. Oh yeah, no, accessory dwelling units. They're going to be a great tool. Hopefully you have family members, or that's a barrier of, I think it lowers that hurdle a little bit for getting into real estate because we can fractionalize the land cost to a degree because it's the land. The buildings are expensive too. Don't get me wrong, but a 70-year-old building, even with new windows and a new roof, it's still probably not worth more than $200,000. It's just then you're dealing with the battle of the land. If that building was 1,500 square feet and it was a new construction house, that house might be $600,000, but it's a new house.
Yeah,
you don't have a lot to do to it for 25 years. Hopefully.
You'd hope, yeah.
No.
Well, isn't that big news though? Because the fine folks at All Electric Homes Incorporated going to be building them and offering services to build them.
100%. Yeah. Well,
So-
I'm just hoping that that resource is embraced. I don't want to see a barrier of entry, right? If there's a way to create that lily pad, might be a good idea to keep the firefighters and teachers around.
You're saying you're hoping there's some kind of help from the state that...
No, not necessarily, but it's where you see, I'm a gentrification dealer. The zoning dictates the gentrification. Oh, I'm sorry. You can only have a single family home here. And then you look at the economics of home building, and you essentially have to build the biggest house possible to make the most money. Okay, welcome to not mansions, because they're only 4,000 square feet. A new construction single family home, 4,000 square feet, where I live, is $2 million. So that's a big nut to choke down for a lot of people. Now, I guess now you can make a case, because you run up against guys over me, where there's a ranch, and you say, you know what? I'll live in that ranch, and now I'll build an ADU out back for my friend or my sister, my mother, father, or maybe that old ranch now they have more flexibility, or they've been given the right to use their land. So I just essentially want to make sure people know what they have, and that their family can stay where they want to be and not get gentrified out.
Well, as things continue and they ramp up, we're going to have you back on probably sooner than later, just to really, honestly, hey, it's our YouTube channel. I can do whatever I want. Maybe have
Damn, man. Oh, watch out. The regulators are coming.
Maybe have more of a sales pitch, because I hope to be slanging these things with you, and I think it's an awesome thing. Basically, listen,
hey, you guys are going to be building them. That's awesome.
Maybe next time we'll get you the details on a project that we're doing. We can kind of go over a little bit, and then we can kind of say what you can and what you can't do. Because, that's part of it, is being a zoning expert. You essentially have to be a lawyer.
I'm just going to be a dream seller, my dude. Listen, you got a piece of property. You want to up the value? Let's build a little house in the backyard. No problem. ADU, come see us, All Electric Homes. Hold on. Hey, so real quick, listen, we're pretty much up against it. Yeah, no, it's exciting stuff. I want to have you back on the show, because I want to tell people about this. And it's not even just because I'm going to be selling these things as a member of the team, but I think it's awesome. And I think that when you think of how, unless people are going to be flocking to my new apartment complex that I'm going to be building in New Hampshire, my 50 unit, and just so you know, that'd be a great YouTube channel. Download the app. I'm just going to be like, hi, I don't have any money. I'm going to show you how you can build a 50 unit apartment complex. And then all of a sudden the subs start going up, and you start making a bunch of money, and then you build your complex in New Hampshire.
Remember the guy, he used to drive around in like a Ferrari, and he just record a video. Oh, I've made millions. And he's just driving around.
Oh, yeah.
Info commercials.
Was that a guy?
Yeah, that was a real thing in the 90s.
Do you want to buy a Ferrari too?
Yeah, the guy made a fortune, and him and Tony Robbins recently sold a product that was, hey, be an influencer.
Amen.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins, the OG.
Hey, dude, I'll come on whenever, guys.
Yeah, it was good to have you, man. Yeah.
See that? Which brings us to, hey, but Dane, was there anything else?
Nah, I think we said it all in this episode. But it's great to have you back, Ken, and good to talk to you again. And we'll have you back again another time.
I miss you, Dave.
Yeah, I miss you too, man.
Yeah. But Ken, was there anything else?
No.
Life's good. Just be happy you wake up every morning. And embrace that. Everything's a win. You wake up.
Yeah.
Hey, boys, we all have a roof over our head, of food in the fridge, and heat, and we're not outside in the cold. Man, I say I'm a very grateful dude. I think I love that. It's beautiful. Look at this guy, man. Namaste. Hey, well, I just want to say I appreciate you guys. You have so many options for things to watch. but you decide to spend some time with us. So make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, tell your friends all about this crazy show with crazy lights. And we talk about everything from girls that can't fit in the lift rides to real estate empires that we're building here. Hey, hold on a second. But ladies and gentlemen, this was Download the Uplift, a place where when we fall, Dane, myself, Winston, and of course our special guest KP, we try and uplift you. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.